welcome back. Episode 34 of the Rice and Slice Golf Show podcast. What is going on, everybody? Thank you guys for being here. My name is Theo. Gentlemen, to my left,
we still haven't figured that out.
it's Chenji Meng. Welcome back. Glad you're here. I don't know if you're watching. I don't know if you're listening. Whatever you're doing, thank you for being here. If you're not already subscribed, please subscribe. Please like the video. Just, I don't know, get in touch. Send us questions. I don't know. Just be nice to us. We're new to this. Welcome
I will
back.
say, we've been getting some good amount of communication from, I wouldn't say fans, but people who are like listeners, right?
Big time.
Some good feedback, actually.
Big time.
So, and I think that really makes us proud because if that we have people who listen to our banter. Like, literally we have fellow golfers who are just as addicted to golf as we are, who talk similar crap about golf as we do. And, we've, in our videos and our, down some things that we talk about, we'll get plenty of sort of positive comments, thinking that, okay, absolutely what we think is right. They'll, contrarily, have people saying that your opinion, Theo, Chenji, you're absolutely crap, which we'll take. Hey, absolutely. Not everybody is right. And we really encourage having some debates, what you guys think is right, what you think is wrong, but just creating, creating a good conversation about it, right? Don't get nasty, don't be friendly, right? But, we're all here just having a good time for the love of the sport. So here we are.
You said it perfectly. I mean, we do have some, like you said, listeners of the podcast, shall we say. We actually get like a lot more messages on Instagram than what I expected to get, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
People saying, oh yeah, I love the podcast. Or even if we're like a day late of posting, because sometimes kind of life kind of comes at us. And but yeah, it's that might happen. They're like, "Where's the podcast? Is everything okay?" Like when we had a couple of weeks off, when I wasn't well and you were like away in New York or whatever. But I had a couple of messages saying, "Guys, like, where are you?" It's nice. And quickly, I just want to give a shout out to Josh Holmes. Josh, I know you're listening. Thank you for sticking with us. Last time I did give him a shout out a few episodes ago, and I called him John instead of Josh. So and he definitely let me know that I made a mistake. So, Josh, hi. I've actually told you, Chenji, about this. Well, we didn't really speak about it. Josh has some vouchers to go to. Is it Close House in Newcastle? Is that what it's called?
Yeah, no way. That's brilliant. Yeah, that's Lee Westwood's home club.
Yes. So he might be our little in to go and play at Close House, which would be incredible. So yeah, hi Josh. But then again, it's not just Josh. There's a bunch of people on TikTok and Instagram. Obviously, I wasn't prepared to give a shout out. So I'm sorry if I've left people out, but you know who you are. There's a lot of people. There's a lot of like decent communications that are going on over on Instagram. So go over in the Instagram, Rice and Slice podcast. Give us a follow. Give us a message. If you've got any questions, if you want to swear at us, say disagree with us, whatever you want to do, like we're not bothered. As long as you're part of the community, that's all we want. And again, just like Chenji said, we're not professionals. We're just fans of the sport. And all we're doing is just giving our opinion on certain subjects. And that's all we can do, right? I think that's fair to say.
We're like the, what's it called? There's a saying of like armchair CEOs. We're like the definition of like armchair golf pros, not even pros, but would be like the kind of people sitting like, watching telly, right? Watching, Dell Matchplay, right? And they're saying like, how can he miss that putt? We could have clearly made that putt. And
yeah, perfect. Or when you're watching football and you're like, oh, that was definitely an offside. Come on, ref. That was a foul.
Come on, ref. Exactly.
Yeah, we're basically, all we're doing is just giving our opinion. The only difference is obviously we're quite obsessed about the sport, just like probably you lot that are listening as well. Like there's no way you found
May I
this.
say, we're just giving our crap opinions, but making it like, putting a fun spin to it.
Well,
right?
I mean, we're trying. Whether or not it's fun and people are enjoying it, that's a different story, right?
Don't take it seriously, but also take it seriously. You know what
Basically,
I mean?
yeah. Like when we say something that you agree with, then yes, take it seriously. But if something that you don't agree with, like just ignore that. Don't take it seriously. I think that's fair to say.
Or just comment something nasty. Just kidding. Don't comment anything nasty.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or that. So yeah, where do you want to kick off? I've actually got some topics. I've got some bits.
Sweet.
I don't know where to start from. Do you want to start?
I mean, I just want to start. I mean, have you been watching the match play game? Dell Match.
Go. Okay.
Dell Matchplay.
Okay. You start. You go, because I've probably watched from the Dell Matchplay, maybe in total of over the 4 days, 6 shots. Not even.
No way.
Not even like 6 hours or 6 minutes. I've seen 6 shots. I've been so busy, Chenji, over the weekend. Work, life. I went out yesterday for my cousin's birthday. It was really good. We watched 0 golf. So please, I've got bits to talk about. You know, I've got the basics of who won, who didn't win, where did everyone finish. But I don't know what happened. So Chenji, please enlighten us.
No, I mean, to be fair, I mean, I've been watching a lot of the match play because, first of all, it's my absolute favorite format, which is match play, because people go aggressive.
Yeah.
You're going to see some of the most wonderful shots and some of the most crappy shots in match play formats, right?
Yeah.
And you've got obviously a very strong feel from the PGA Tour, but I won't talk a lot about that. The only thing I really wanted to say was, like, how pointless is the sort of the match for third place, the third and fourth place.
Well,
it's like it's like the comparison would be the World Cup.
Yeah.
Like the what's it called? The final for the world. What's it called? The match for third place. Yeah. It just feels like so pointless. And I think a lot of people going into the final, right, and then into the semis, right. And the semis was McIlroy, Rory versus Cam Young.
Yeah,
and then it was Scotty Scheffler versus Sam Burns.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, all 4 players are absolutely, like, you know, amazing professionals. But I think a lot of people, most people, right, expected a final face-off between Rory and Scotty,
which would make sense. And I'm glad that didn't happen. I'm really glad that didn't happen.
And, you know, which makes sense, and also kind of like, you know, where the game was going after the front 9, actually it feels like, you know, that was basically what was going to happen, right? Scotty versus McIlroy. But then it was like in a spectacular turn of sort of like in a very dramatic back 9 between both sort of, you know, both matches.
Yeah.
It ended up being Sam Burns versus Cam Young. Not the final everybody expected, but I think was like a final that actually was quite fun to sort of see, even though it actually finished quite early because Sam Burns just absolutely smashed it, right?
Yeah.
Like, he was literally on fire on the final match, right? But I thought actually the way Scotty and Rory was playing in like the match for third place was just really kind of funny. I think both of them was trying to just rip it. It was actually felt like a friendly match in a way. Yeah, I just thought it was kind of funny and pointless, but you know, that sort of thing, especially with 2 of like, I think, is Rory ranked number 2 now, or is he number 3?
No, number 2. He went up. I was looking at the. It's funny you say that. I was looking at the rankings.
So you've got the world number 1 and the world number 2 fighting for number 3.
Yes, but I mean, it would make sense. The only reason that I can make sense of this is the only reason that they were playing for third place is for money, no?
Well, it's for money and it's for the points as well, right? So
yeah, so
I think at this point,
still
it's
matters
more for the
in a way. Do you know what I don't understand, right? Okay, I'm new to match play, as in to this format. So the finalist, Cameron Young and Sam Burns, they played a total. Please correct me if I'm wrong. They played a total of 6 rounds in 4 days. Is that right?
That's right.
That's so much golf, man. That is so much golf. It takes a toll on you. So that's my first question that I had. Second question that I had, on the final day, on the Sunday, it was Rory, Scotty, Sam Burns, and Cameron Young that played, right? So 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th place, like, how does that work? Because they didn't go out head to head. If that makes it, does that make any sense? They didn't go head to head to kind of determine who is what do you call it? Who's 5th, who's 6th? Like, how do they determine that? Because if they need if Scotty and Rory had to play to determine 3rd and 4th, then how do you determine 5th and 6th?
That's actually a really good question.
Does that make sense? Because nobody played on the Sunday. Like, if you got knocked out, you just stopped playing, you went home.
Yeah, there we go. The answer is that basically people who make it to the quarterfinals but then lost, right, they get the same amount of money.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it's like 645,000 for like T5, T6, T7, T8.
That's wicked.
Yes.
Okay.
That's right. And then obviously like the same thing. So basically a band of 4, is it? But yeah, so people in the bracket, each bracket, right? Because obviously, you know, with the match play format, it's in the form in the way of the brackets, right? So every bracket has its own prize money distribution. Like, yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes complete sense. Wow.
So yeah.
Oh, wow, interesting. Did you know that this is going to be the last WGC match play event ever?
Yeah, that's right.
Do you know the reason?
I mean, I think, well, it's because of Live, isn't it?
What do you mean? Explain.
It's because Live changed the way PGA is starting to will organize some of these events.
No, that's not the reason.
Really?
Yeah, that's not the reason. I did some research today because I've like I said, I watched like 6 shots, and in those 6 shots that I seen, I heard the commentator say that they got it's going to be the last event. So I remember that this morning. I googled it, and I actually did some research.
Yeah.
The reason is because Austin
Golf Club.
Austin.
Yes.
Wait, pronounce that for me. Austin Country Club.
Or like Austin.
Yeah, Austin Country Club basically went to PGA and they asked for more money, and they asked to put the prices up for tickets for next year a lot higher. And the PGA came back and they were like, yeah, we don't want to give you any more money. We think the price for tickets is capped. Like you shouldn't charge any more money for fans that come in to watch. So they were going like back and forward, and then a few months went by, and Austin like realized that they're not going to get their way. So they went back to the PGA and they said, okay, fine, we will accept your terms. We just want to carry on this event going every year. And the PGA was like, nah, we're good. Like, don't worry about it. You kind of missed your chance. You ruined it. So basically, that's the reason why it got cancelled. But
no way.
Yes,
I didn't know. I thought it was like just a restructure of the event.
Yes. So what they thought was the PGA, because they're going to restructure and it's going to be like different scheduling for 2024. I feel like the rumors are that they are going to have like a couple of match play events, but they're not going to be at Austin. So they don't mind, like the PGA doesn't mind the match play events. They actually want to add match play events and more match play events, but they just fell out with the country club itself because they just got too greedy. So they were like, yeah, okay, we'll just go somewhere else. Like, don't worry about it. It's fine. Yeah. So, but then again, that golf course is really nice. It's very interesting. A lot of drive
it looks great. I remember like
every par threes are nice.
Every year, I really like this event because of the format, because the good players around the world, right? And actually a lot of points up for grabs. It's one of the last events prior to the Masters, where you can qualify for the Masters. So a lot of people, especially who are outside the top 50 in the world, are really making such a big push at this event to get into the Masters. Yeah.
So speaking of the Masters, I've done some research.
Yes.
Ricky Fowler needs to finish. He's currently 59th. And as you said, you need to be in the top 50 to get an invitation for the Masters, correct?
Automatic, yes.
Yes. So Ricky Fowler hasn't received his invitation, and he needed to. I think the way it was either he had to get to the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and he would get enough points to be top 50, and he ended up not doing that, and he's currently 59th, right? So this week he's one of the only decent players that's played at the Valero Texas Open to try and like finish quite high, to be able to finish top 50 in the world, to be able to play in the week after at the Masters. So, for anybody listening, do what you will, gamble responsibly, but I feel like Ricky Fowler would be a good bet for this weekend. He has to play well. He's going to be really motivated. And saying that, I have the golf ranking points in front of me, and it's actually quite interesting. So, speaking of the Valero Texas Open, let's have a look. Who's playing? Where is it? Ricky Fowler is obviously playing. Taylor Montgomery, he's 58th. He needs to play well. Tiro Hattle's playing, but again, I don't know why he's playing, because he's 17th. He's well in the Masters. I mean, surely you want to go to the Masters, get some practice rounds in, get comfortable with like your surroundings. Like, why are you wasting your time at the? No, don't you think?
I absolutely think, I think the Valero Texas Open, right?
Yeah.
As well as, to be fair, the Dell Matchplay, right? They are one of the hottest betting events in golf.
Yeah, it's because you need to.
It's because there's always going to be always going to be at least a few players who are making that huge push to make it into the Masters, right? So these guys are motivated, they're participating, they've got all sort of like, training programs in there, and these are a lot of them are already good players who just really want to make that push, right? So yeah, I think it's going to be a huge event and
massive,
a good potential.
Do you know what it is, right?
Actually make some money. Gamble responsibly, by the way.
Yes. Like, don't hold me to that. Don't bet your life savings and on Ricky Fowler and then come back at me and be like, what? I've listened to you. Like, no. I'm just saying. I genuinely think it's going to be a decent bet.
I'm going to put all my life savings into Ricky Fowler. Okay,
don't do that.
I've said it here first. Episode 34, Rice and Slice podcast, season 2. Okay, I've gambled my life savings on Ricky Fowler to win the Valero Texas
No, not to win.
Open.
Top 8 each play each way.
Top 8 or
top 5.
We've said it first.
Okay. Listen, just gamble responsibly. Yeah, that's not. I'm no professional. Believe me. I tell you what. I'm that much of not a professional. I put £150 on John Rahm to win at the match play event, and he got knocked out within like. So don't listen to me.
Ricky Fowler. Oh my God.
Don't listen to me. I won like a football bet a few weeks ago, and I had like some money in my account, and I didn't transfer it over. So I was like, yeah, John Rahm is looking good. He'll definitely finish. Like, he'll definitely make it to the quarters. He got knocked out like second round. Anyway, I'm looking at the Valero Texas Open, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 8 names that I recognize. Maybe 10. Right? It's not a great, like, Ricky Fowler is a good bet. Tiro Hato's playing. Hideki Matsuyama's playing, but he dropped. Like, he's not doing very well. He's 21st. Obviously, he's good for the Masters forever. But, it's Ryan Fox is playing. Taylor Montgomery, like I said, he's 58th. He needs to play decent. And I'm looking at where is it? I've got it in front of me somewhere. The world ranking points, right?
Mm-hmm.
When was the last time you've seen the world ranking points?
To be honest with you, not like a long time ago. I haven't seen it.
That's
why I asked.
I'm glad.
Number 1, and I think Rory's number 2. Yeah.
Okay, so Rory's number 2, John Rahm is number 3, which just moved down. Let's go down. So top 50. So Taylor Moore just made 50. He's 50th. Taylor Gooch, he's 52nd. I don't think he's getting an invite anyway. Harold Varner, the 3rd, obviously live player. I'm surprised he's 57th, best world ranking. Like, and he's been at with live for like a year-ish, right? I'm really surprised. Do you know who else really, really genuinely surprises me?
You mean a live player?
Yeah, Cam Smith. Somehow he's like 5th. Dude, how does that work?
Man's won events.
Cameron Smith hasn't played a PGA Tour event in the past maybe 8 months, and he's still 5th. Max Homer's just behind him. DJ somewhere in the 20s, I think. Justin Thomas has moved from top 10 for the first time in 10 years this weekend, so he didn't play very well. It's a very interesting, like, what do you call it? Min Woo Lee, because he played well at the Dell Matchplay. He got an invite. He went over the top 50. I'm like, mate, I can't wait for this year's Masters. I genuinely can't wait. My question for the Masters is, do you see anybody but Scotty Scheffler winning the Masters this year?
Whew, tough one. I tell you what, I mean, I've said it like in a couple of, like start of the year that I'm rooting for Cam Smith, right? Because I've always liked the guy, but he's not been doing well, has he? In Live Tour, like he's not been doing great.
No, he and not many other good players have been doing well. Like the last 4 people that won, I don't even remember the names on Live.
Yeah, exactly.
They're quite irrelevant. I know it sounds horrible, but it's true.
Like, what's it called? What's it called again? There was this guy, what's it called again? Anyway, Danny Lee, that's right. He won the last event, right? And then it was like Charles Howell something. Yeah, won the previous
Charles Schwartzel. Schwartzschild.
No. That he was the first ever winner.
Okay, Brendan Grace, Henrik Stenson, obviously yes. DJ, obviously yes. But still, it's like, do you know what it is? I think I figured it out. Us as human beings, we need motivation. We need something to look forward to. We need something to work towards. We need, okay, if I win this week, I'm going to take home $2 million, $3 million, $10 million, whatever the price is, right? So you've got that motivation to get up in the morning, practice even more, put the time in, put the effort in, put the work in, and make sure that you perform so you get paid. This is the one good reason about having cuts, is because the one bad thing obviously is if you don't get it, there's a lot of players that are really relying on making cuts to be able to survive in a way, right? Pay the bills, be able to play, the week after, pay the caddies, have enough money to kind of travel and all that kind of stuff. That's one bad thing. But the good thing is motivation to make the cut. Now, all the live players, they got silly money to play for live. They have no motive. Like, whether they win or come last, they're still getting paid millions. They're still getting sponsorship deals. Like, they're still getting paid stupid money. So with what motivation are you going to go out and practice and play well and try and win events when you've already got paid? Like, you have nothing to worry about. This is why you don't really see the big names kind of performing for live, right? So I don't think Cam Smith would play well. Or it could be the opposite, where Cam Smith actually plays so well that he reminds the world how good he actually is, because he wants to prove you know what? Yes, I want to live. Yes, I got paid, but I can still play golf. Make sense?
Yeah, makes sense.
But saying that, I genuinely don't see anybody but Scottie Scheffler winning. I really hope Jordan Spieth. Rory wins, obviously. Jordan Spieth, I don't know. I think he'll be good. He's playing very well. My outside bet for this year, and you might laugh at me, my outside bet for the Masters,
Minwoo,
Jason Day. You heard it here first. You heard it here first. Jason Day.
Controversial.
Very. I'm so happy. Ricky Fowler, Jason Day, Minwoo Lee. Forget Minwoo Lee for a second. Those two players.
Have you ever even been to Australia?
It doesn't matter. I don't have to go to Australia to enjoy. But
you support the Oz.
Doesn't make a difference. I love Minwoo Lee. Him, Max Homer, Tom Kim. All these players are the future of golf. Yes. We need to get behind them, and I'm so happy that he's playing well. I'm so happy. Ricky Fowler and Jason Day have found the game again, and they're playing well, and they're in the conversation of good golfers again. I'm so happy. Jason Day will be my outside pick for the Masters. I think Scottie Scheffler, I'm not a fan. I'm not going to lie to you. Everybody, Chenji. I'm very vocal.
Because you described him as water.
Very boring, very bland. Perfect swing. Well, not perfect swing. He's got a really weird swing, but he doesn't make many mistakes. Just bland, boring golf, in my opinion. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sure there's a lot of other people that agree with me, but he's just not an exciting player to watch. He's just too good. I'm like, stop being so good. Was it yesterday? He was in a par 3 and he got it to 4 inches away. He nearly got hole in one. I'm like, just relax, man. Why? Just calm down. And the worst part is,
why wouldn't you say that about Tiger Woods? He was the same thing during his day.
Yeah, but nobody expected Tiger Woods to be so good. He was the Minwoo Lee. Jason Day. He was the outsider, and then he was outsider. I'll show you the outsider. That's why he was the underdog. That until he started smashing everybody up. But I mean, that's why. But he started as the underdog, and then he was proving everybody wrong. So people just instantly fell in love with him, right? Scottie Scheffler, he's just too good for no reason. He doesn't even try to be good at golf. He's just so natural with it. He's just like Jordan Spieth, for example, right? Jordan Spieth can easily drive a 340-yard green, and he can easily slice a ball into the water. You won't see that with Scottie Scheffler. It's exciting to watch Jordan Spieth play because you don't know what you're going to get. One day it's going to be incredible golf. In one of my favorite short game players, especially around the greens, flop shots and really deep, rough, difficult shots. Jordan Spieth is just unbelievable, right? but you don't know what you're going to get. With Scotty Scheffler, you're like, okay, yeah, he's going to be, tapping birdie, 10-foot eagles, no problem, But it's just like, I don't know. For me, a bit boring, but that's just me.
Fair enough. And especially for somebody who has such an unpredictable swing, he has such a predictable, golf game.
His driver swing is really weird. Like the way he moves his body and his like right leg and the way he follows through.
It's like he's dancing. Right? It's like he's dancing salsa.
Yes, perfect
shake
example.
Everything. Shake
it's so weird. So weird. But it's going to be good. I'm really excited.
I tell you what, in a way, I'm still kind of rooting for, even I might be, betting on Cam Smith because he is extra motivated. He knows it's probably one of his last seasons where he needs to make the Masters. He needs to win the Masters to get a lifetime exemption into the Masters, right? So in a way, a lot of these live guys, and not including, Sergio Garcia, Dustin Johnson, Bubba Watson, who've already won the Masters, but those who haven't won the Masters are going to be extra motivated to gain lifetime exemption into the Masters, which is going to be so hard to come by.
I get that. And you have a really good point. But, like I said, I don't think Cam Smith is better than
But if there was
John
one
Rahm.
event Cam Smith would want to win this year.
Big time. Oh, big time.
One.
Do you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. And now I'm just making this up, right? I haven't heard this anywhere. Do you think that Liv would... This may be really silly of me to say, right? They might go to the Liv players and say, okay, you lot are playing at the Masters this year. If you win, we will give you $3 million, $4 million as a bonus. Do you think that might be a thing? Does that make sense?
Okay, so like a bonus on top of a bonus.
Yeah,
basically.
so
on top of a win.
Yeah, to motivate them to play well, because obviously it's good for Liv if any Liv player even makes a cut, or you know what I mean. It's good publicity for them. And imagine being a Sunday last player out. Your what's the word? Featured group. Cam Smith, and he's wearing like his team uniform, whatever team he plays for. Probably has like live golf emblem, little badge on the side of his t-shirt, right?
Yeah.
So that will help Liv so much, right? Because that's just free advertising. So surely Liv, or the board would be like, okay, Cam Smith, or whoever, DJ, whoever's going and playing. If you win, we will give you $4 million for extra motivation.
I'll tell you what, it might be the case,
I wouldn't be surprised.
I do wonder as well, do the club manufacturers also pay players an extra bonus if they actually, either win or make it top 5,
what
top
do you
10?
mean? Of course.
Add the majors.
Yes. That's a silly question. I thought we spoke about this a bunch of episodes ago.
We did, but that's like Titleist, that's their model anyway, right? But, there's tailor-made. If, for example, Rory wins, Rory already gets paid 10 million, 20 million a year using tailor-made clubs.
Yes.
So if they win the Masters, right?
Surely they have bonuses. I mean, depending on your contract, Titleist 100%, 98% of their players is literally bonuses. That's all they get paid. You make the cut, you get paid. Finish top 20, top 30, top 10, top 5, top 1. You get more and more and more and more money, right? TaylorMade, I think there's a lot of bonuses floating about. I genuinely don't think that there's a bunch of players that don't know exactly how much money they make because they're like, I don't know. I think if you get, I wouldn't be surprised if they've got bonuses if you make a hole in one, we'll give you a bonus. It might. It's not going to be millions, but it might be 10, 20 grand from the club manufacturer or whatever because of how many times that's going to get. Perfect example. What's his name? Sawgrass, 17th hole. Is it Aaron Rai?
Aaron Rai, yeah.
Yeah, he's sponsored
English golfer with the two. Yeah, he's sponsored by Me and My Golf.
He's sponsored by Me and My Golf, right? And
yes, he has been for a very long time.
Yeah, for a very, very, I think for the entirety
since the beginning,
of his pro career, right?
Yeah.
So I was watching. I was like, oh my god, I can't believe Me and My Golf are sponsoring a player. So that player is getting sponsored by Me and My Golf, which is incredible. and then he goes out and gets a hole in one. Now, that clip will get repeatedly played for the next 50 years, for example, right?
Yes.
And all you can see is Me and My Golf logo on his T-shirt. Surely Me and My Golf are going to give this player like some sort of bonus. That's in the contract.
Can we tag Andy and Piers on this?
Andy and Piers, I know you're listening. I know you know the answer because it's you that sponsored him. Just help us out. I mean, it might be like a confidentiality agreement.
Confidential, non-disclosure agreement.
Yeah, so you probably can't answer. But if you can't answer, just like this post. And we know that you can't answer. If you can answer, just let us know. If Aaron and I got a bonus. Yeah? Thank you. We love you. We can't wait to meet you face to face. So there you go.
Brilliant. Yeah, I mean, I said, I think Liv is going to get tons of publicity, right, from the Masters, because all the players will be wearing, the Liv gear. We'll have Liv on the hats.
Yeah.
Patrick Reed will get, will be, decked out in Liv gear. So it's going to be interesting to see. I'll tell you what, it's going to be so interesting to see the dynamics of everything, right? And I also wonder, are they going to be pairing the Liv players together like they have done, for example, at the BMW PGA Championship back in Wentworth last September, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, they cannot make that decision. Actually, they might even do it if they make it to if they make the cut, right? And they just pair them based on their places. They just pair the closest Liv players together. I don't know what's going to happen. Do you know?
For what's the word? For television purposes, I think they're going to try and is it shunned? Is that the word?
Yes, shun.
The Liv players, so they're going to give them as little TV time as possible, unless they're playing really well and they make to the final day and they're part of a featured group. But I think in the beginning, I will be, unless it's like a hole in one and like an incredible shot, I don't think we're going to see any highlights on the YouTube pages or even on the Sky Sports Golf or whatever. I think that's been the case for a couple of other majors that happened since Liv started. So it's going to be very interesting. And I'm not surprised. And I think it's well deserved, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, of course, look at that. I mean, because Sky Sports, CBS Golf, right, the US broadcasting rights of PGA, they're very well, obviously, they've got a very good relationship with PGA Tour. And I can only imagine the kind of conversation that's going on behind the curtains between the executives at, PGA Tour and the, CBS, Sky Sports, other countries' broadcasters to say, right, you are not going to give the Liv players any screen time,
no,
right? Unless absolutely they are in the final group of the Masters on a Sunday. So yeah, definitely can see that happening.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. So it'd be interesting.
I do wonder,
yeah,
actually, because the Masters has very, very strict rules about broadcasting, right?
Yeah.
Like for example, they cannot name the guests as guests. They have to name them patrons, right? You cannot have more than this amount of commercial breaks, in throughout this tournament, right? There's certain things that you cannot do in terms of what kind of commercials are sort of shown during the breaks, during the intervals. So it's very well curated. And I do wonder if Augusta Nationals Committee, right, have done a meeting between all the parties involved and saying, right, okay, put your pettiness aside. We're going to give all players equal, sort of broadcasting rights to kind of appeal to all golf fans. Or I don't know. They must have had that conversation, and I think we're going to find out very soon, right, at the Masters, what it's going to be like. Is it going to be like one of those, usual PGA Tour, DP World Tour events where both parties could have, both Liv players and PGA Tour players attend, and then they're going to give them no screen time? Or is Augusta stepping in and saying that, don't give them all the screen time, or reduce the screen time exposure, but, in the fairness of the game, the spirit of the game whatsoever, give them a bit more screen time? Does that make sense?
Oh, it makes complete sense. Again, we're just kind of saying our thoughts. We don't know what's going to happen. It could be one or the other, whatever. I don't think they're going to give him any screen time, and I don't think that Augusta will disagree with the PGA Tour. So it'd be interesting to see. I can't wait to see what happens. 2 weeks to go. 2 weeks. Two of the
2 weeks
Masters.
ago.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
I can't wait. I want to give you. Moving on. Is that okay with you?
Yeah, of course.
I have a hot take.
Go on.
Very hot take.
We love hot takes. Very hot. A lot of hot takes today.
Driving ranges are not helping with your golf.
Agreed.
Really? No way. I'm so surprised you said agreed.
Why are you surprised? I told you like a long time ago. I stopped going to driving ranges until I absolutely have to. Always like, Top Golf or driving range with friends. Like yeah.
Just for a laugh and a drink, not to sharpen your skills of golf. Let me tell you what happened to me.
Go on.
So I get a new driver, Ping G430. We covered it in a couple of episodes ago. Very good driver. But it's a new driver for me, right? I'm a 16 handicapper player. You can't just give me any driver and I can hit it. I need practice with it. I need to get comfortable with it. Are you downing vodka right now?
It's a glass of water, mate.
That's very bougie water, mate. I've never seen water like this. It looks like a bottle of vodka. I'm so sorry.
For those of you not, listening and not watching the YouTube.
Yeah, he's
drinking a bottle of water.
Chenji's drinking a bottle of water, but a very fancy glass, like very nice labeled bottle of water. It looks like a bottle of vodka. Right. Anyway, so driving ranges. So I got my new driver. I'm going on a golf holiday in literally 2 weeks today or whatever it is. And I want to play well. Like, I don't want to shoot the lights out, but I want to have a good time. There's a lot of water. There's oceans left and right of us. So I want to enjoy my time and I want to play decent golf. Right now, I don't feel very comfortable with my driver. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to dedicate some time. I'm not going to go and play as much golf, and I'm going to go to the driving range and just hit my driver a bunch of times. So I had this idea. I want to hit my drive. I want to hit 1,000 shots with my driver before I go to Bulgaria. That way I can get comfortable with it. I know how to hit it, and I get used to the weight because it's a bit different. I can get used to the actual technology. I can get used to my driver, right? That was the plan. I went yesterday. I got 120 balls. 80 of them were with the driver. I went today. 120 balls. 90 were with the driver. I started yesterday. I didn't mess with my driver at all. I just kept it as it was. Today, I changed the loft. I changed the shafts. I changed the weight in the back. I put it to to fade bias, to draw bias, back in the center. I tried everything, right? I couldn't hit a drive past 210 yards. Does that make sense to you?
And that was what range?
Top tracer range. So a good range with a top tracer, so you see exactly how far you're going. One of those automatic things where you put the balls in the machine and the balls like pop up. Everything good, right? But I didn't enjoy it. Now, the driving range, the best club, shall we say, to train with is the driver. Because it's teed up like it would be in real life if you're playing golf. The ground is okay. It's very realistic to when you're playing golf. But if you're going there and you're hitting your 5-iron or your sand wedge or your pitching wedge or any other club off the ground at especially top tracer driving ranges is perfect, right? So it's difficult to hit a bad shot. That's not realistic. Because when you go out and you play a real life round of golf, chances are your lie is going to be bad. You might be sitting up. The ball might be sitting down. You might be in a divot. You might be mud. There might be mud on your ball. The ball might be above your feet, below your feet. There might be a hill. It's not realistic. And then you're flushing all these shots at the driving range, and then you go to the golf course and you can't hit a decent ball. And you're like, but I was hitting it so well at the driving range. Well, no wonder, because your conditions were perfect at the driving range. If anything, the ground helps you glide the club across the ground for you to get a decent strike at it. You know what I mean? So I'm hitting my driver trying to practice, and I'm like, I can't do it, man. I'm struggling. So keep in mind,
Did Did it feel like that you were driving it 210 yards, or did it feel like you were driving it more, but it just didn't go and show that way?
I hit so many balls that by the end I was a bit tired, and I was like, I wasn't comfortable with my driver. But not only that, I wasn't comfortable because I wasn't hitting decent shots. So I was like, okay, so I'm doing something wrong. So I'm constantly trying to change things, right? So I'm like, as an experiment, I went in my golf bag and I got Kirkland balls. I'm like, with the idea of, I'm going to hit a Kirkland ball on a top tracer range. So I'm going to see exactly how far I go. Downside is I'm going to lose this ball. But I'm like, just to see, because it didn't make sense. I was smashing the ball as hard as I could, for example. It was going dead straight. I look at the top tracer and I'm like 205 yards. Like, there's no chance. There's no way. I could hit my hybrid way further than that. There's no way my driver's only going 210 yards. It doesn't make sense. So I'm like, okay, I'll give it a go. Today, I'll try Kirkland balls. I'm like, okay, it is what it is. They're quite cheap. I got some used balls in my bag. I'll just hit a few. My average distance with a Kirkland ball at the driving range using top tracer was 260 yards.
So a difference of 50 yards just for the changeable.
Listen, I know that the balls that we use at driving ranges are not the best of balls. They've been hit and hit and hit.
But
more
not
times
like
than you can count.
But not like that big of a deviation.
I thought the difference would be 15 to 20 yards.
Yeah,
I did not expect 50 yards.
I usually add like 10 yards for like a mid-iron,
Yes.
and then I add like maybe 20 yards on like a driver.
I've taken some pictures. I don't know if I can find it. Let me have a look. So
It's horrible, man.
And it was such a big difference.
You definitely don't hit it 210 yards.
There's no chance. There's no way. I'm not saying I'm
No
a good
chance.
player, but there's no way I'm hitting it 200 and whatever yards. No, I've got the picture in front of me now. This was the first ball that I hit, right? A total of 258 yards. Carry 243 yards. Flat carry 243 yards. Ball speed 156 miles per hour. Dude, the yellow Strixon top tracer balls that we were using, I promise you, I couldn't get it past 215 yards. So that put me off. So I'm like, why am I here hitting balls when I'm not going to get the same flight, the same speed, the same distance, the same everything as I would in real life of golf? So yes, it's not even a case of sharpening my swing. Because if I'm swinging and I see that the ball's not going very far, or the ball's like slicing because it might be cracked, or the ball's going left or right or whatever, then that doesn't help me in real life. So why am I going to the driving range, spending 2 hours when I'm not getting the practice that I need to be getting?
And that's why, professionals, or not even professionals, like, real scratch golfers, right? And I know, for example, at my previous club, when they practice at the driving range, right, they always go to the grass area, right? And they use their own balls.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going to go and pick up your own balls, then fair. Keep in mind, I was using Kirkland balls. I wasn't even using Prairie ones.
Which is going to go like 270 at least.
Well, it's going to go a little bit further, yes. Even my misses with a Kirkland ball, and I hit like 10 shots. Obviously, I lost 10 balls. Even my bad shots, they were like 230, 235, 40 yards. So it's like, what's the point? I don't know. It's expected because obviously they're not going to be changing the golf balls, the practice at the driving range like every week. That's fair. I'm not expecting that. But I did not expect that much of a gap, that much of a difference. And obviously, I wasn't swinging any faster. If anything, by the end, I was swinging slower because I was so tired of hitting balls. But it was still going 265 yards.
Yeah, I agree. The driving range at this point, and that's why the whole driving range model really should be changing towards top tracer fun, fun games with friends, top golf, games with friends, and make it like a social occasion. Because if you're anything into golf, right, the driving range doesn't help your game because you feel like, right, I mean, why am I hitting so much longer on the golf course, whereas I'm hitting it so much less than on the driving range, and you try to mess around with your swing, and plus if you're hitting off a mat, it's not going to help much with your golf game anyway because the lies are very much different. So it's bad for your wrist as well. Yeah, because when you hit down on grass, right, you cut through the turf, whereas if you hit down on the mat on the driving range, you basically exert over and over that stress on your wrist, right?
Yes.
On your leading wrist. So, and I've made that painful mistake of like, 3 years ago now, I suppose, when I first really got into golf, right? I went to the driving range and I hit like 500 balls. And the next thing I know...
What, in one day, 500 balls?
In like one session over like, 2.5 hours or something.
Oh my God, that's mad.
I know. And then literally on like the 501st ball, I don't know, like, whatever number it is, right? This sharp pain on my wrist.
That's very natural though. Like,
not only have I not played golf for like 3 months after that, right? But I feel like that old sort of injury is haunting me since.
Yeah, I'm not, mate, 500 balls is crazy amount of...
my whole body was knackered the next day, mate.
Yeah. So yeah, it's I'm gutted because I do enjoy going at the driving range, and I genuinely enjoy going at the Top Tracer and Trackman driving ranges. But it's like after doing this little experiment and seeing how much big of a difference it is, I'm like, I kind of got put off. And after I did that, I had like 30, 40 balls left, and I was like, forget that. I just literally packed my bag and went home. It's like, I don't know, man. It's very off-putting because let's say I want to go work on my fade or I want to go and work on my draw. I can't because if I'm hitting a crappy, broken Strixon ball, well, it's not going to work for me unless I'm using that exact same ball in real life. And I'm never going to do that, am I? So it's I don't know. It's very weird. It's what's the word I'm looking for?
Fully agree.
Is it a catch-22? Is that a catch-22?
Catch-22, yeah.
So yeah, it's a very weird one.
Catch-22. So if it's catch-22, what's catch-21?
I don't know. I think you're the smart one out of this group. So don't ask me silly questions.
Just because I'm dressed smart doesn't mean I'm
you're dressed very smart today. Actually,
mate, I dress like I'm straight back from like golf hospitality.
Look at you. I don't know. You put the hat on before. If anybody's watching, Chenji today, he's wearing a blazer, like a shirt, like he just finished work in the corporate world. And he was like, okay, let's get the podcast done because, we need to get the podcast done. And then he put his old course hat on that we got from the Open last year. And I'm like, dude, you look like you just got taken to a golf event and you just to belong, somebody gave you this hat just to blend in. And you have no idea anything about golf. You don't know what you're doing. And he's like, yeah,
and you're just there for the booze.
And you're just there to drink, and they're just trying to blend you in. It's like when you go and watch like a football game, and they give you like a football shirt to wear for that relative team, just so they're like, oh yeah, I'm a big time supporter of I don't know, Leyton Orient. But yeah, it's one of those. Anyway, that is all I have for this week's podcast, Chenji. Do you have anything to add for this week?
No. I think we've got a lot to talk about leading up to the Masters, but, let's keep it tight.
Let's keep it tight. It's a very short episode this week. I'm actually rushing a little bit. I'm going to go and watch John Wick at the cinemas with my brother. So that's why I wanted to do the podcast a little bit earlier, Chenji. But yeah, guys, I will give you a full review of John Wick next week, if I remember. Next week, the episode should be a little, obviously, like another 5-10 minutes longer, but it is what it is. We move. At least we got a podcast out. So yeah, Chenji, thank you very much for listening. Please like and subscribe. Get in touch with us. DM us on Instagram. DM us on TikTok. And we will see you again next week. Thank you very much. Bye.